Wendy, Trump's denial, the report notwithstanding, how do you see tariffs right now? Where are they going to start, and where do you think they will end up?
Well, I wish I could answer that definitively, but I think we're definitely going to see tariffs. And there's clearly an internal discussion in Trump's team about the application and the scope of tariffs, with Trump wanting a broad application, a broad scope, and some of his advisors recognizing that that can end up hurting the U.S. more than our trading partners.
Yeah, listen, the Post reporting one thing, Trump saying on his social media platform, it's simply not true. Again, without stepping into the quagmire that is the media fight that really is kind of the Trump show, is there a place, Wendy, where you and your team believe that tariffs are the sweet spot? In other words, is there a number at which, you punish cheap importers and you bring jobs back to America, but you don't punish so much U.S. consumers who ultimately may be forced to pay those higher costs?
Look, there is a time and place for tariffs. And in fact, we have trade laws which allow the imposition of tariffs, but those are based on objective long-term investigations to make sure that our trading partners, for example, are not pursuing fair trading practices. With respect to your question, the lower the tariff, the better. There's not really a sweet spot, and it varies product to product, because remember, a lot of products already have tariffs on them, and Trump's tariffs would be additive. And so they are just going to jack up costs, not only for U.S. consumers, but for U.S. businesses that rely on inputs, materials, minerals, machinery from outside sources.
Wendy, do you think there needs to be a kind of global rebalancing away from the, as Russell Napier, the non-system system of the past 30 years, which was basically once China started devaluing? I mean, do we need to are we moving into a different era? And are tariffs a plank of that?
We absolutely are. And I believe that there should be some rebalancing. But there's ways to rebalance, and I would recommend a strategy where we work with other countries towards rebalancing versus just telling them, guess what? As of tomorrow, your imports are going to face a 20% duty, a 20% levy. Right. That's not consultation. That's not cooperation.
Right,
that's,
but even going back to look, we talk about cooperation with China. This is the same country, as the Wall Street Journal just detailed. They're inside our phone systems. They're inside our ports. They're inside key Western infrastructure that might be involved if there were an attack on Taiwan. It's like, I think we all realize at this point, we're not, this has been a sort of low-grade trade war since 2018, including throughout the Biden administration.
Look, when it comes to China, we're clearly on a much more solid basis to impose higher tariffs. We have a Section 301 investigation that was concluded, allowed Trump to put tariffs in. And in fact, he can use that statute to impose more tariffs. My comments were more on rebalancing with other countries, our allies and partners like Korea and Canada and Mexico and Europe, like the notion that we're going to be hitting them with high tariffs and then seeking their cooperation on other issues, it just doesn't seem to make sense to me.
Right. And we'll see if it goes in that direction. Or, again, if there's an element of truth to these reports, at least, that it could end up being those that are more essential and less broad-based or universal.